We are less than a week away now from Selection Sunday and all the great stuff that March Madness brings us. We got Antoine Walker, Plaxico Burress, Cody Decker, and the L.A. Lakers, who tonight play the Grizzlies. They are going to retire Pau Gasol's number. Plax and I agree that's stupid. That being said, they're playing the Memphis Grizzlies without Ja Morant. Just real quick, since I have both of you guys here, and obviously we all know Plax's story, when you read about the stuff with John, you see the picture of him flashing the pistol at the club. If you were going to counsel him based on life experience, here's a young guy, obviously immature still, but he's got all the money he's got. Like, he made it. Mm-hmm. What would you say to the young man, just based on your personal story and where the road he seems to be going down?
Well, I mean, for everything that I understand, Ja's a great kid.
Yep.
You would just hope that, I know for a fact that his father and his supporting cast or his friends or whatever should be, trying to guide him in the right direction. Listen, we came out of that. We was fighting to get out of that, way of life or how you grew up or whatever the case may be to better ourselves, and now he's there. And, I just kind of feel that, you work so hard your whole career and your whole life to get to a point, and, it can all just be, taken away.
Right.
You can just taint or whatever your legacy may be. And if I was just telling him, if I was speaking to him, it would just be, you can't learn anything, man, just learn from me. And just make better decisions because, you really don't want for him to have that label moving forward, being that he's so young. He has the opportunity to be the face of the NBA. He's that great of a player. And you want to continue to see him, mature as a person as his game is getting better.
Right.
And I think that all just comes with time. And, being around the right people, and I believe, he made a mistake, and he's came out and expressed his remorse, but, he'll get better.
My goodness, and we're going to get to the Lakers in a second, but I think it's worthy to have just another minute of conversation on this, is that a lot of people have no idea what it's like to come from certain backgrounds or situations, and the pact that guys make with each other. Hey, man, if any one of us gets out, we're all going along for the ride, because we grew up together. We're like family. Like, we may not be related, but we're brothers, right? And I think there does come up to a point, you made a point about a half hour ago, that when you were making a business decision, you were a 20-something-year-old, making multi-million-dollar decisions, you as well. And people can't relate to that because no one makes that kind of money outside of entertainers or athletes, where now you're a 24-year-old kid, but you're not responsible for 20 dudes or an entire family or whatever the case may be. So I think a kid like that, who does have a mom and a dad, or both in his life, which is great, obviously, that someone's got to say to him, this glamorizing of a certain lifestyle that may seem hip and cool, and you're one of the guys, whatever it may be, isn't hip, it ain't cool. No one looks at you and goes, oh, man, you're so cool holding that gun in the club. Avoid it. You could still go to the club. You could do whatever you want with girls and party and drink and all that stuff, but the gun doesn't belong there. Right. And my hope is that he recognizes one day there's probably guys in his life that he's going to have to make tough decisions about that shouldn't be in his life anymore, right?
Yeah, and I can speak to this. I had a lot of friends that I hung out with and still friends with them today, but you figure out a way to weed them out. And the way you weed them out, you don't necessarily have to do bad, but you're trying to accomplish something. You're trying to take care of your family, and you got to have a real conversation with them. Let me play. Let me do this. I can help you better.
Right.
By me playing, doing the game I love to do, than just, let's going out here and doing something crazy.
I'll tell you guys a quick story. So Pat Croce, who many, many years ago was a part owner of the Philadelphia 76ers, all right? Allen Iverson's there, and Allen Iverson had a crew of guys. They were on his payroll, kids he grew up with in Newport News, and I totally respect that. But a couple of those guys, were up to no good. And we're putting Allen Iverson in bad situations. He had no problem being in those situations, but they weren't looking out for him. Pat Croce, who's about 5 feet 9 inches tall, gathered all of AI's inner circle in a parking lot outside the arena after a game. And he goes, Bubba Chuck's coming out here in a minute, but before he comes out, we're having a conversation. If any one of you MFers ever puts that kid in a bad spot again, I will personally kick your ass. Now, Pat Croce was like a 9th degree black belt and was crazy. And he would. And he goes, matter of fact, and as the story goes, he took his shoes off, rolled up his sleeves and says, I'll take all y'all on right now. There's 8 of you. If the 8 of you can beat me right now, I'll never say another word about it. And they're like, man, he's crazy. And nobody wants to fight crazy.
He is crazy.
But he was looking out for Allen Iverson. And while he still got into some issues, of course, those guys were like, I'm not doing anything near Pat Croce because I don't want that old white guy to kick my ass. And that's what it was. That happened. That's real. It's tough love. But sometimes you need that too, yeah?
And I'm going to add this too. For me personally, keeping it real cost me. And when I grew up in the city where I wanted to be cool with everybody and be everybody's best friend, it come back. Now I'm getting a home invasion.
Right.
And it hurt me personally because I'm like, man, I'm one of the players. Plaxico, you can relate to this. I'm one of the real players that everybody still can touch. And you know some guys can't be touched. And I mean by touch means that you can't walk up to them. Guys kind of get off, standoffish. But I was still a neighborhood guy you can come up to, you can talk to. And to pick me out of everybody, right. I felt like, wow, why would you pick me out of everybody? And at this time, we probably had 20, 25 pros in Chicago. Mm-hmm. I wasn't just the only NBA player that was going through Chicago training in the summertime. So it hurt me. And it just woke me up to like, you can't treat everybody the same. Yeah. You got to watch where you go now. It's just certain things that, as an athlete you got to be aware of. It's unfortunate. You would love to be able to do certain things that other people do, but sometimes people get very jealous of the money that you got and the lifestyle that you've created for yourself. And it's just people out there that's just not going to allow you to just come there. It's going to be jealousy. So I just learned it, and I just started staying away and limiting my circle.
Sure. Well, it's a smart move. It's a business decision and a smart one. Listen, so Ja's not playing. He's out indefinitely. There's also now a police investigation, I think in Colorado, right, where he flashed that gun. So it's not over yet for Ja Morant, but thankfully nobody got hurt and the gun wasn't discharged. That brings us to the Lakers tonight. It's interesting. I'm looking at, the Lakers are still 3 games under 500, but they're not that far away. Forget about the play-in. They're actually not that far away from getting to the 6th seed. It's unrealistic for this reason. They all play each other over the course of the next 30 days, right? And because they all play each other, it's going to be very hard to make up enough ground to jump Portland, Utah, the Clippers, Dallas, and Minnesota. You got to jump 5 teams to get to the 6th seed. Right now, the goal's got to be, let's get in to 7, 8, 9, or 10. Let's make sure that we have 2 cracks at winning that play-in game and then getting into the real playoffs. I would not focus on 6 if I'm the LA Lakers or their fan base. I would focus first on, let me overtake Portland and Utah, and then we can see if 6 is reasonable. And I say that because LeBron James ain't playing for another 3 weeks or so, and I'm not sure how long that guy right there, Anthony Davis, can be counted on to stay on the court, Plax.
I just don't believe that the Lakers will make the playoffs. But I'm looking at these records. They're really only like 3 games away from going to the 6th seed, which is kind of mind-boggling.
Wild.
It is.
Well, I'll do you one better. They're 3 games out of the 5 spot.
Yeah.
If you really want to look at it. I'm just trying to get them to 6, but they're 3 games out of the 5.
Yeah, AD is going to have to be aggressive every night in and night out. He's going to have to, score 30, 35 points a game. They want to be able to compete to get to the play-in or playoffs, which I still don't understand this whole play-in thing.
Yeah.
But
it's called cash.
Yeah.
It's called money. Antoine, let me bring you in on this. What you've seen recently out of Anthony Davis, but knowing that he doesn't stay on the court all that long, can AD carry the Lakers for 3 weeks until LeBron gets back, or is that asking him too much?
No, 3 weeks is good for AD. If it was the whole season or half the season, I would probably say something. I'd probably say no.
Okay.
But I think for 3 weeks he's capable of carrying them. And with the Lakers, I think with the additions that they made right there at the All-Star break, I think they'll be able to hold the fort down. Now, what spot they finish in, that remains to be seen. But I think they'll be able to hold the fort down and be able to make it to the playoffs. I think their roster is good enough to make it to the playoffs. Obviously, they're going to probably be at the play. At the seeding spot, it's going to be bad for them.
Yeah, I think they're going to be in the play-in.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's 8, 9, or 10, but I don't think they're getting a 5 or 6 because now you're asking Golden State, just got Steph Curry back, to lose more than half their games. You're asking Minnesota, who's been a little bit above 500 team all year with Anthony Edwards, to suddenly go on a losing streak. And I don't. There's just not enough games left especially without LeBron James playing. As good as those role players are now, and the fact that they can shoot the ball from outside, and AD is playing like a rock star, there's not enough games and there's too many teams they got to jump, in my opinion.
But coming from the bottom, I mean, you wouldn't want to play the Lakers if LeBron comes back in that seed. So you wouldn't want to play him. So I think that's what they're probably thinking about. But I have a lot of trust in AD. I'm a little biased. I'll be first to admit that. The Chicago kid, obviously I'm rooting for him, and I love his talent and his skill set. But I think he's good enough to get them into the playoffs. I think he can lead them there, especially with the additions that they've made, obviously at the trade deadline with those new players.
Right.
But how far they're going, LeBron coming back without really a lot of games.
They're not winning a title.
Right. But I think AD can get them to the playoffs.
Right. I'm with you, Plax. Right. And then you're going to have to look at the LeBron James Laker run as a major failure.
He's supposed to say that. I'm from Chicago. I'm a little biased.
What do you
man.
mean?
AD from
No,
Chicago.
what I'm saying is that the Lakers are not going to come out of the Western Conference.
No,
no.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't believe that.
I believe they're good enough to win, 4 or 5, 3 out of those games out of the next 10. I think they beat Houston, maybe the
stinks.
Knicks and Orlando. I mean, other than that,
I'm sorry, let's back that up for a second. I heard Houston.
So
I heard
the Knicks and
Orlando.
Orlando.
What was the other team?
say the Knicks.
Are you not aware what the Knicks are doing right now?
Yeah, they're about to lose to the Hornets.
9 straight wins, Plax.
I'm just giving you my opinion.
Do you not want to be invited back to Madison Square Garden?
They don't
sit
invite
next
me
to
there.
me, front row at court side. Hey, look, it's Plax and Carton. Sit court side of the Garden.
I'm just giving you my opinion off the next 10 games that they have. I'm thinking that AD will come in and they'll beat the Knicks.
I'll give you this. They'll beat the Rockets.
Yes,
Absolutely. And Orlando.
They'll beat Orlando.
What about a
I'll give you that.
Charles Memphis?
Hey there. Thank you so much for watching The Carton Show. You can subscribe right here to get all the latest bits and segments from the show. And by the way, while you're at it, we have a lot of great shows on FS1, so check them out too.